Hello and welcome. Today we're gonna learn how to write Android applications, and in this tutorial I'm gonna start completely from scratch. So I assume you know nothing and you have nothing installed on your computer which is needed to write Android apps. So let's take a look here at the things you will need. You will need the Java runtime environment. This is the stuff that allows your computer to run Java apps. So if you ever went to a website which uses Java and it works, then it probably means you have the JRE, but we're gonna see how to check that. And then we're gonna install the Java development kit, which you need if you want to write Java software. Android is sort of Java, so that's necessary. Then you're gonna install the Android SDK, which is the Android Software Development Kit, which actually does the Android bits of Java. Then you're gonna install Eclipse, which is an IDE, an integrated development environment, which is basically a code editor, and it also does all the plumbing for you. It pulls all the pieces of the SDK together, so you have a nice environment in which you can program. You don't technically have to use Eclipse, but this is the Google recommended way. And also we're gonna install the Android Eclipse plugin, which sort of adds extra functionality to Eclipse, so you can do Android related development much more easily. Okay, so let's start. We need the Java runtime environment. I'm just gonna go to Google over here, search for Java. You wanna go to java.com. I will put all these links up, so no worries there. If you can see the links. And here there's a link, do I have Java? So you wanna click that and it will check. Click verify Java version. It will check if you have Java and if you have the latest version. Just wait a bit. You might get some pop-ups depending on which browser you're using, some security questions maybe. Okay, so it has finished checking and it has found no working Java on my system. So depending on your computer it might be different. You might already have Java, then it will tell you if you need to upgrade. So for me, I want to install the Java runtime environment. So free Java download, agree to the terms. It will ask you to save this file, save it, and then you open whatever folder you saved it in, double click, start the installation. Yes, I want to run it. Install. Okay, so it's done. You have successfully installed Java. If you have any problems, then you need to deal with those, but usually it goes pretty well. Close that. Oops. What we need now is the Java JDK, Java Software Development Kit. So just Google that. JDK. Oops. You're gonna go to this Java SC download. I'll put up the links so you don't have to struggle with those. What you want is the JDK 7 over here. Also here, the download link. So just click that. Now find the appropriate version depending on your Windows. So for example, this is 32-bit. I'm gonna use the x86. If you have a 64-bit, you might want to use the 64, but I believe the 32 also works on the 64-bit system. I'm gonna download that. Oh, first you need to accept the license agreement. Download that. Save the file. And let's see what's happening here. Right, so it's like an 80 megabyte download. Give that a few minutes. Okay, go to your download location. find your download and start the installation. Yes, I want to run it. Next. I usually just leave everything as it is. You might want to get the code samples, but those are for Java, not for Android. So let's click next. Just let it install to the default location. And we're done, finished. It launches the website, but you don't need to register if you don't want to. Just gonna close that, check our list. Okay, next I want to get the Android SDK. To do that, go over to developer.android.com, which is the official Google Android site. See a helpful little download link there, then more. And I'm gonna get the SDK installer for Windows, the recommended one. Download that. Go to the download location and install that. Okay, now there's some sort of bug in this Android SDK. So it says Java SE development kit JDK has not been found, but we clearly just installed the JDK. So how you fix this is you go back and then you click next again, and then it magically works. I have no idea why exactly, but there you have it. And click next. Now here we're going to change the location of the installation location, because you see this program files. This space here introduces some problems in the future. You're gonna get some errors. So what we want to do is install it in a location which doesn't have any spaces. So what I'm gonna do is just delete everything except Android SDK. So it's gonna install right in the C drive in a folder called Android SDK. I'm gonna click next. Everything else is as it is. And we can click. I'm gonna leave that check mark there. Click finish. It's gonna do its thing. It's fetching some stuff from Google somewhere. What we're going to do now basically is select the particular Android versions which we want to develop for. So you have Android 1.5 all the way to 3 point something right now. So you need to select which ones you want to be able to develop for and install those on your system. Okay, finally we're here. Now here you can choose the packages you want to install. So let's see, what can I say about it. Okay, so you see Android all the way from version 1.5, which is API level 3, all the way to Android 3.2, which I believe is for tablets, API version 13. So if you want to be able to develop for all of these, you need to leave all of these checked, and I would leave everything else checked, like these Android SDK platform tools. That's the important part, very important part. So leave those. There's sample code for different versions of the API. You might want to leave those on too. Now here you have Google APIs. Google APIs are not part of Android. So what Google has done is taking like the Google Maps APIs and put them in a different non-open source part. So if you want to develop, if your app is going to have like Google Maps built into the app, you need to also download these. So you would choose accept here. I'm not going to do that, so if you want to, you can do that too. And also there are some device specific APIs. So Kyocera have this dual screen Android device, like two screens, one on the bottom, one on the top. So they have specific APIs for that device. There's a 3D, I think it's by LG, 3D phone by LG. Galaxy Tab has its own specific things. So if you want to target those devices, you should also check that. But I'm gonna leave this as it is. Plus I'm going to remove the 3-point things, because the thing is, these things they take quite a lot of space and so time to download. So I'm just gonna remove some of those because I'm not interested in developing specifically for tablets. Right, and then just click install. And this will take a while. It's quite a sizable download. So okay, so that's finally done. Took like 15 minutes, and this is a 20 megabit connection, so you might want to make some tea or something. Okay, do you want to restart now? Yes, this is restart just the Android bit, not the computer. It's called a ADB, Android Debug Bridge. Okay, so you restarted. Close that. Now what we want to do is create a virtual device. It's called an AVD, Android Virtual Device. So the virtual device allows you to test your application on the computer. So this is the emulator. So you can run your apps without a phone. You just code your app and then you run it in the virtual device. Just click new here and make sure you have virtual device selected. Click new. Name your virtual device, anything. I'm going to call it Android 2.1. Target is the Android version you want to target. You want the device to be. So I'm going to choose 2.1. When you're developing, about 97% of Android devices out there in the real world are Android 2.1 and above. So you have to make a decision. Do you want to work with the older versions of Android and potentially support everyone out there if you put it at Android 1.5, or do you want to work in slightly, in better newer version, but you're gonna exclude about 3% of the Android population? So that's a decision for you to make. And of course some things are available in 2.1 but not in 1.5. Okay, so you create a virtual SD card. So I'm just gonna put 100 megabyte there because we don't need it to be huge. You want to enable the snapshot. A snapshot basically allows the emulator to start up faster the second time. So the first time you shut down the emulator, it will save a snapshot to the hard drive, and then when you start it up again, it will use that snapshot to quickly start the emulator. It doesn't have to go through the entire boot process, and the emulator is quite slow, so this helps quite a bit. You can choose a skin here, so it's basically the screen size. Just leave it at default. You can also install your own skins, so the emulator looks like some phone. Maybe it looks like a Samsung Galaxy or any phone. You can download some skins out there. Okay, that's about it. Oh, something is missing. Okay, you can't have spaces in the Android in the name, so I'm gonna put an underscore there. Nope, still nothing. Oh, that's not an underscore. I'm using a weird keyboard over here, so excuse me. Yep. Okay, create AVD. So your virtual device has been created. Okay, you can start it, but we won't for now. Just close that. We need to install, let's go back to our list. Need to install Eclipse and the Eclipse Android Eclipse plugin. So Eclipse first. Eclipse is an IDE, open source. Go to eclipse.org, and you want to go to the download Eclipse part. I usually use the classic one, so download whichever version is for you. I'll go 32-bit. Here is the download link. Here you go. So Slovenia is the closest for me. Just do that. You can also use BitTorrent if you want. Save the file, and it's like 180 megs. Okay, that's done. Go to your download location, find Eclipse. This is a zip file, so you need to extract it. I'll let that extract. If you don't have an extracting program on your computer, you can download 7-zip. Just Google 7-zip. Very nice. And then after you've installed 7-zip, if you right click on a zip file, there'll be plenty of options on extracting. You can extract just about anything. Zip, RAR. Okay, that's done. So this is the Eclipse folder. Now Eclipse doesn't need any installation as such, so this is a fully working Eclipse. If you want to start it, you would just start that, double click that, and it will work right away. There's no traditional installation thing. So what I want to do is just move it. I'm gonna cut it from here. I'm gonna go to my C drive. I want to put it in my C drive right there. Eclipse. Right. So I'm gonna start Eclipse. Now if you are on Vista or Windows 7, what you want to do is run it as admin. So you would right click the file and you would select run as admin, because I've found that this solves some problems for me. Also, you could set it to always run as admin. Right click and then properties, and then there's a setting there, the checkbox basically says run as admin, and then Eclipse will always run as admin, so it will save you the extra step. Okay, just start Eclipse. Want to run. Close that thing. This is the workspace. Workspace basically is where all your projects files are gonna be saved. So I will just leave that as is, and I'm gonna tick always use this workspace, not to ask me again. Okay. Okay, and this is Eclipse. So just gonna maximize that. Welcome to Eclipse. Can close that. Now, right now, Eclipse knows absolutely nothing about Android. So what we need to do is install the Android Eclipse plugin, which is made by Google. Go back to our developer.android website. Go over here, installing the SDK, and you want to find installing the ADT plugin for Eclipse. Installing the ADT plugin. They've managed to hide it quite well. So okay, this is what you need. This URL right here. Copy that. Go over to Eclipse. Go to Windows. Go to Help. Install new software. And then click the Add button. You can call it anything. I'm gonna call it Android ADT plugin, and remove that. Paste your URL in there, then click OK to go and see what's available for you. Right, so these are the developer tools. You can expand that if you want, but I'm just gonna tick the main box here and select everything. If this address is giving you problems, I believe you can try it without the S, so you will not have a secure connection. I believe, yes, try HTTP instead of HTTPS. So you will just change that URL to be without the S, because I guess some people have problems making a secure connection. Okay, so everything is selected. Next. Right, review the items, and next. You need to accept the agreement, of course. Finish, and it will install. You might get some pop-ups asking you if you are sure. Just click OK or yes or whatever, just get it to move forward. Now it's done installing the plugin. It wants to restart Eclipse. Gonna restart now. Eclipse is gonna close and open again, and we are nearing the finish line. You will see that we have this new button here, which will eventually launch the Android, what is it called, SDK and AVD manager, which is the one we use to set up the virtual device. But first, you need to go to Windows. Congratulations. Do you want to send the usage stats to Google? So I'm gonna allow Google to spy on your stuff, but it's anonymous, just a joke. I'm gonna tick that. Paranoid. Okay, go to Windows. You need to tell Eclipse where the Android SDK is. So Windows, Preferences, find Android, and then you see you need the location here. And if you remember, we installed it in C drive. Just find the folder where we installed it, the Android SDK. Okay. Now we can click this button, and you'll see our device here. You can create new devices, or you can launch this device. Just close that. Now let's create a very basic Android program, just hello world, just to see that it works. Everything is working as it's supposed to. So, file, or right click in here, which I like to do. Go to project, find the Android project. Next, and I give your project a name. Hello world. You want to select the target Android version which you want to build the app for. So if you select 1.5, it will definitely work on 1.5 and everything above it. But if you select 2.1, it can also work on 1.5 and 2.1 and all of them. But you have to be careful not to use anything 2.1 specific in your code. So this means it will work on everything. This means be careful. Or you could just ignore 1.5 and 1.6 and only build for 2.1 and above, which I said is 97% of the Android phone market. So you make your decision here depending on what you want to do. Okay, that's the application name. I'm gonna leave it at that. Package name. You need a package name. Now this is usually your URL. If you have a website, this is usually like your URL in reverse. So I think the idea is that it's going to be unique. So if you have a website, you can enter it like this: com dot, this is my website, and then dot, and then you need like a unique name. So it's usually the application name or something like that. So hello world. You don't have to enter your URL if you don't have a URL. Just enter your first name, last name, just anything basically. But it prevents, I think, collisions with other packages out there if you use like something that's unique. Okay, create an activity. An activity in Android, we're gonna look at that, but it's basically the screen. Each screen in an Android application is usually an activity. So if you open an app, it shows you an activity, and then you probably click some button and it opens another activity with different buttons and things on the screen. So that's what an activity is. and if you check that, it will create one for you automatically to start with. Okay, next, you can create a test project if you want, if you're into that unit testing. I don't do that, so click finish. To build the workspace, this can be quite slow on older computers, so be prepared for that. And here is our project. The source folder contains the source code for the app. Hello world activities, this is our automatically created activity. You see it extends the activity class, and it sets the content as r.layout.main. Now if you go to res here, you find the layouts folder. So in Android, you define the look of the app, the layout basically, in XML using these XML layout files. So if I open that, you see it's slow even on this is pretty decent laptop, but still you'll see they have a sort of a graphical builder, but it's really not very good. You're going to have to get into code one way or another. And if I go to this, let me just minimize that and go to this main.xml, you can see the code which is making up this layout, this activity. If I go back, you'll see there's a, I don't know why it's so tiny. Let me try and zoom in. Okay, see there's a text. It's called a text view, which is used to display text. It's saying hello world activity. So I'm just gonna leave it like that because we're just gonna see if our installation is working correctly. Now to launch this app, I usually go over here into the projects, right click the project, go to run as, and you can do either run configuration if you want to change the way what happens when you click run. But we're just gonna click Android application here, and that should get us on our way. Yep, there we go. See the emulator is launching. It's kind of huge. You can adjust that, but we'll talk about that later. Now the emulator is quite slow, especially the tablet emulators. The tablet emulators are impossibly slow, and it doesn't even matter which kind of computer you're using, it's always slow. So be patient. It's just like an Android phone. It's sort of going through the boot process, and voila, this is our application running on the emulator. Hello world activity. Doesn't do anything, but it is an application. So there you go. If you had a phone, you would connect your phone to a computer, and then you would have an option of launching either in the emulator or in a real device. So just to show that this is basically a phone, there's the home button. Click that. I'm gonna go to the Android, I don't know what it's called, start screen, desktop, whatever, and it behaves pretty much just like an Android 2.1 phone would. Okay, so that's it for this first video. It's quite long, but it's not a complicated procedure, but it just takes time. So good luck, and I will see you in the next video where hopefully we will make something more useful. Put some buttons on the screen and make them do what we want them to do. Okay, thank you and bye.